Nobody voted for them. Nobody called them. They just arrived with a logo, a mandate, and your money. Building full of suits in Geneva, drinking wine, drawing maps of how you're living, drawing up your bottom line. Got a 5-year plan for villages they've never set foot in, telling farmers how to farm the land their grandfathers were built in. Flew in on a private jet to preach sustainability, wrote a 40-page report on your community's fragility. Never knocked a door, never asked a soul their name, just declared what you were lacking, then they billed you for the claim. Holding money like a bad episode of Hoarders, while the real need bleeds out quietly across the borders. 10% arrives, the other 90 feeds the org, feeds the salary, the conference, and the 3-day forum board. Warehouses of aid just rotting on the ground, just enough to keep the photo up and optics sound. Unelected, uninvited, who put you in charge? Your budget doesn't make you right, your mission statement's large. Greed is running across the borders, dressed in altruist clothes. Big money is not our voice, and everybody knows. Go dictate to empty boardrooms, we don't hear you anymore. You never ask the people, so what exactly are you for? Strange organizations with a mandate from the air, backed by billionaires with agendas they won't declare. They brand it as empowerment, it's leverage in disguise. Conditions buried in the fine print of their funding ties. Sign here, restructure this, adopt this framework now. We'll fund your clinic if you do it our way. Here's the how. People in the village, never in the room, just a subject in a PowerPoint, a bar graph and a Zoom. Marginalized communities, a phrase inside a deck, not a human being talking, just a data point with debt. Never listen about how to give, just dictating how to take. Every intervention tailored for the donor, not the aid. There's a difference between helping and arriving with your answer already written. There's a difference between giving and making people beg for what was taken. They call it civil society, I call it civil management, a layer of unaccountable, well-branded pavement. The money doesn't move unless it moves their way. The report gets filed, the metrics get displayed somewhere on a panel. Someone claps about impact, while the people they uplifted see none of that reflect back. Your big money is not our voice, get that straight. You don't represent the people, cause the people didn't delegate. You bought the seat at every table, called it advocacy, but advocacy without the people is just policy by fee. Lobby governments on our behalf without our say, shape the laws and frameworks while we're kept out of the way. Push back and we're ungrateful, unenlightened, hard to reach, resistant to the process, that's the language that they teach. Never once imagined that the people had their own design, that to help maintain the wound instead of healing down the line. The village asked for seeds, they got a gender audit room. Asked for water, got a white paper predicting their doom. So read the room before you land, here's what it means. Go away off the planet, last choice left it seems. Not because the world is fine, not because change isn't due, because you don't get to author what was never owned by you. Your logo is not justice, your endowment is not care. Your mission statement means nothing if the mission wasn't there. Nobody asked, you never asked, you never